And is Ethereum at risk? That is the case according to JP Morgan, one of the largest banks in the US. You can see here, since the Shanghai upgrade, we've seen kind of a lackluster performance here with Ethereum. But what is the situation? What is going on? And is this an opportunity to buy the dip, or something fundamentally changed with Ethereum, which is slowing down the adoption cycle? We're going to break that down and a lot more. If you appreciate these updates, even when I'm traveling, guys, I'm on the road here on some business meetings, but still committed to giving you guys the updates. So we're going to catch up on the markets. We'll see how we're getting on. I've just posted a free trade alert in our Telegram group, so make sure you've gone in there and checked that trade alert. I'm showing you exactly how I trade, guys. If you want to learn the TA, UK/TA, check out the links to the exchange in the description, and you're good to go. You can start trading with a bit of lunch money and get practicing on how to make profits even in this bear market. But what we're going to talk about today is the following. JP Morgan came out with quite a damning report, really, breaking down Ethereum and its lackluster performance ever since the upgrade. So, of course, you had the merge last year. Earlier this year in April, you had the Shanghai upgrade, which allowed you to unstake your Ethereum that was staked, and people can now start to use Ethereum 2.0 as we know it, which is, of course, now proof of stake, not proof of work. But if you look back in the price charts, the performance has been really lackluster, right? When this happened in April here, you can see we had a breakout here on the weekly chart, immediately fell back down and really just curled over. And now Ethereum in April kind of was at highs of about 2140, now sitting closer to 1586 today. So it's well off the highs even of this year. And now you're asking, why is the adoption curve not gone up? And so what's particularly damning is, let's take a look here at the metrics. Right, so if we look at the market cap since the Shanghai upgrade, you can see that's fallen by 10.97%. If you look at the daily transactions, down 12%. Total staked Ethereum has gone up by 50%, which of course was what everybody was hoping, right? More people would stake. That will help the security of the Ethereum network because it's now proof of stake. But remember, I made plenty of videos at the time explaining that the risk with Ethereum 2.0, as we know it, the proof of stake, is the huge centralization. Yes, they're more energy efficient. It's hugely energy efficient now versus the proof of work system that it was before. But now it's become hugely centralized with major players like Lido holding a lot of the stake. And that's going to cause a lot of problems in terms of censorship, right? The governments only need to go to a couple of people and say, give us over those transactions, blacklist this address. And that stuff can start to create centralization and censorship, which is a huge problem for Ethereum in its new guise. The other thing which is a major worry for Ethereum is, where do they stand in terms of the SEC, in terms of them being either a commodity or a security, right? Previously, under the proof of work, you did have the commodities regulator in the US come out and say, yeah, they're deemed a commodity. But then now that they've changed from proof of work to proof of stake, does that classification need to be reassigned? And where do they stand, right? They weren't mentioned in any of the SEC cases against Coinbase and BINANCE, where various other altcoins from the top 20 in crypto were mentioned as examples, but Ethereum wasn't mentioned. So we don't know where we stand with Ethereum just yet. It's just kind of unspoken about right now. If we carry on looking at these metrics, you can see here, Ethereum supply has barely moved. Daily active addresses on the network has fallen by 20%. You can see a 16% fall there in the DeFi on Arbitrum, 20% fall on the DeFi on Optimism. Those are both layer 2 scaling solutions. You can see a 20% increase in daily transaction on Optimism, 20% increase roughly on daily active addresses on Optimism, and down 28% daily transactions on Arbitrum, but their address is down by 60%. So you can see here, this is causing a huge problem. More centralization with certain entities over at Lido, for example, where majority of the ETH is kind of being sent to be staked, and this causes a problem for Ethereum, and that's what JP Morgan is rightly pointing out. Now, what's my take on this? My take on this is that a lot of this is accurate, but it's kind of illogical to blame Ethereum for all of this downturn. You've got to look at what the wider market trend is. When you can see the whole macroeconomy is trending in one direction, you can see the NASDAQ falling, you can see the S&P struggling, you can see Bitcoin struggling here in this market. We know the rate's going to be higher for longer. It's kind of unfair for us to expect so much outperformance from Ethereum. So where people are trying to measure stuff, they're comparing bull market Ethereum performance. When bull market Ethereum really started pushing up all the way there past, 4,400 roughly here on Ethereum. You can see these crazy kind of levels that Ethereum was achieving. And they're trying to compare to this peak here. And it's like, how could you compare to that? We're in a bear market now, so we can't really find out if ETH 2.0 was a success on all of those metrics until the bull market ensues, until we see when all that excitement comes in, when all those tourists, those crypto tourists and more adoption comes into the market, when institutions come into the market, what does it look like then? The other thing we know which is on the radar is that ETH from an institutional perspective is kind of in the early stages of what Bitcoin went through, which is people are starting to apply for ETH futures ETFs. Remember, Bitcoin's had some Bitcoin futures ETFs approved last year. Those are helping institutions get exposure to Bitcoin, albeit not the underlying asset. And probably the same path will happen with Ethereum, where they get their futures ETFs at some point approved. Hopefully Bitcoin gets its spot ETF, and then Ethereum can eventually get a spot ETF, further down the line as well. So that's a good roadmap. I think clearly Ethereum still is that main competitor, the main player in the smart contract platform. So for me, I'm less worried about it. I look at this here and I sit here on the weekly chart, where below our weekly EMA ribbon, you guys know if you watched my video from yesterday that I'm expecting more pullbacks in this market. Bitcoin's looking weak. The market has to price in, the cuts in the FOMC, the fact that they want to keep rates higher for longer. So we can see here now, markets have already, 25% of the markets now, through the redness which we're seeing in the market, are pricing in that we can get one more rate hike in November, okay, at the next FOMC meeting. So there's more pain to be priced in this market, and I think we could start to see that bleeding through. If you look at the pre-market here today, NASDAQ futures are dropping 0.75%, S&P about the same, and Dow Jones down over 0.5%. So markets are rotating risk off, and that's going to cause a problem. If we check in on the dollar index as well, opening up a little bit flat here today. Let's just go to the daily candles. You can see here just nicely above its EMA ribbon, causing a big problem, right? This is the problem here, how powerful this is. EMA ribbon showing great extension there for the dollar index. And on the weekly chart, flippening, right? You can see we spoke about this yesterday where the EMA ribbon is starting to flippen, and this is a big problem. If we jump on over to Bitcoin, you can see where we're sat here on Bitcoin on the weekly chart is we're just last week got rejected by EMA ribbon, and now we're opening this week up as a doji candle. And again, just worried, are we going to pull back to that 25k level? That's the price point I'm looking out for. If we do go to those levels, I will be looking to accumulate some Bitcoin and some Ethereum, maybe a couple of the altcoins which I like. And if you want to deep dive into which altcoins am I buying and which ones am I staying away from completely in this next bull run, I'm going to link both those videos up here. Make sure you go check them out. But before you do, smash up the likes, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.